I think the CMO role is becoming increasingly important to every organization. But also what's happened is the marketing function has become more complex, number one. And secondly, there's a greater need for speed, given the amount of change in the world. So firstly, let me talk about complexity. In complexity, consumers are changing, and they're changing at a rapid rate, in part because of the advent of great digital technologies. So their media consumption habits are changing. Their purchase paths are changing, right? And the way in which you communicate with them is changing, a lot driven by digital. And then the second part is the need for speed. So what happens is, in this rapidly changing world where consumers now are much more in charge, you need to make things happen faster because they kind of demand it. I think there's really two. One is the increased focus on health. An example for us is making sure that we're moving from things that are more processed to things that are more natural. And the second is the changing demographics, which in this country are changing very, very quickly. Not only because of ethnicity, but also because of household makeup. So I think the biggest changes are consumers. Again, digital's driving a lot of this. Consumers expect choice. Interestingly though, in a world of infinite choice, what they also want is for you to make the choices easier when they get to the point of making a choice. So you can identify pretty quickly, that's the product I want. So the complexity for the marketer and for most companies now is to make sure that you have enough choice, because you can't have unlimited choice. It's not economic. You have enough choice and stuff that eventually will be scalable. So it used to take us months to just test a new product concept. Not develop the product, just test the concept. And thousands of dollars. We now do that in a matter of days and for hundreds of dollars. So we launched 3 to 4 times more products this year than we did 3 years ago. One level of listening is really probing into how can we make a real difference in people's lives by giving them better answers or getting things that are their way, that are aggravating in this category. That's one level of listening. Second level of listening is really understanding the solutions that will deliver against that and the best way to communicate, position, refine those solutions to consumers. And that's when you get into much more of an interactive discussion with them on how to solve those things or create new solutions for them. And then I think today, the third way to listen is a very interactive daily way, which is you really can have your finger on the pulse of consumers, in real time. The greatest risk is you don't realize how quickly digital is changing your business and how you need to communicate and interact with customers. So I think that's the greatest risk. And for the most part, I think most companies, quite frankly, are slow to change. I always say if the outside world's changing faster than the inside world, you got a problem. Your relevance is eroding, right? Whereas if you're changing as fast as the outside world, your relevance is keeping up. We've got a core digital team that works across all of our businesses. One, it's responsible for making sure we take advantage of digital on all of our businesses and become a true leader among CPG companies. Second thing is they have to be educators and advisors to our marketing teams as partners. And then the third thing they have to do is they have to be our eyes and ears to the new things that are happening out there. The CIO, his traditional role has always been on the information systems of the company, right? What's starting to happen is as you collect more data about your customers, right, or consumers, and hold that data and then utilize that data, that's where the interaction comes between the CMO and the CIO. But ultimately, the marketer needs to take that and translate it into better growth, future growth, and a better understanding of the customer, and quite frankly, a better relationship with the customer, which ultimately gets based on trust between the customer and the company or the brand. I think people you need to just see that, you know, digital and social are new advertising tools. It's just like there was TV, there was radio, and there's TV, and there's now digital. And, you know, great communications and telling your story about your brand or product and convincing people that, you know, it's something that could make their life better or easier, quite frankly, these are just new tools to do them with, right? So storytelling, creating relationships, doing things that people are going to notice and be provocative have never been more important. And here's why. Because there's the opportunity for everybody to tell a billion stories out there. I think the CEOs are really starting to understand how much more they need to understand as CEOs about marketing. Because in a world where growth is hard to find, you got to be a great marketer. You really have to be a great marketer. And to the extent that CEO has to be the champion of the most important functions, I think what you're seeing is the growing importance of not just the CMO, but the importance of marketing to the CEO.